What's up, guys? My name is Rob, you're on Rule of Two Review, and today it's more unfortunate news for The Last Guardian yet again. So it should be noted that The Last Guardian has been one of the games I've been really excited for quite a while. I love, I don't remember his first name, but Utseda? I don't even know how you pronounce his last name, but the guy who's been working with Team Ico, which is, famous for the game Ico, which I thought was fantastic on the PlayStation 2, of course, Shadow of the Colossus. They make some really fantastic, beautifully realized, very surreal kind of games that are super artsy. It's kind of the thing that speaks to that more artsy style of gameplay. And, it's been, a lot of people consider Shadow of the Colossus to be the best PlayStation 2 game and one of the best games of the last several generations. And I definitely can see where they're coming from. I think that he's a fantastic designer. I love Team Ico and what it is that they're trying to do. Of course, a lot of us probably know and remember when E3, I want to say 2009? Is it possibly that old? I'm pretty sure it is. E3 2009, when Sony first unveiled on stage during their press conference the trailer for The Last Guardian. That it was the new project coming from Utseda and Team Ico. And, featuring this young boy and this giant dragon cat dog kind of thing that kind of looks like Falcor from the Neverending Story a little bit. And it just looks like you're going to be playing this boy in this weird sky castle thing, forming this really strong bond to this huge creature. And it looks fantastic. I am all about this game. I support it 100%, and I want it to, to release and be realized. And the problem is, again, a lot of us probably know this, is it was mired in a lot of cancellations, delays. It was getting swept under the rug, and then rumors would bring it back to surface, and Sony would have to make a couple comments, but they were always very coy about it. They would never really just come right out and actually tell us what's going on, other than trying to say, yes, it's still coming, blah, 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 blah. And they've never really sounded like they had proper conviction behind that. It never sounded believable, and they're also only ever proven wrong because the game never shows up or is ever talked about in any official capacity. No trailers, no gameplay, no hints, no dates, never showing up at E3 every single year. It is the zeitgeist title at E3 because everyone is wondering, is this the time that we're finally going to see The Last Guardian again? Is it just been delayed to come out on the PlayStation 4? So that's fine. Just tell us that that's what you're doing. And Sony has refused to talk about it. And honestly, as somebody who wants that game to exist and has been excited and down and ready to support it, it kind of has made me mad. I'm mad at Sony for not ever talking about it. Even if the game has been canceled, which would be, the most unfortunate news ever, there's no reason to not just say it. Why drag this out? Long story short, there's been a lot going on with this title. We do know that Team Ico eventually left the project. Utseda was leaving the project and leaving Team Ico and no longer working with Sony, but of course still had this contract that was keeping him attached to specifically The Last Guardian and working with Sony his last time just to finish this title because he did start it while still working for the company. And, all this other exodus of other employees and whatever's going on with Team Ico, there's just been this crazy secretive behind-the-scenes chaos surrounding this title ever since it was first revealed with that very first trailer, now 6 freaking years ago. And so anyway, that whole long story leads us to today's news, which is that apparently, according to an article on DualShockers, which I will link for you down below, I saw this posted by my good man Active Sin on the Gamers at Large Facebook page, or maybe it was the Nintendo Holics Facebook page. Regardless, he posted it on Facebook, and it's from DualShockers, and it basically mentions that Sony has now finally officially let the trademark be abandoned. They did not renew the trademark, which apparently they've done, according to this article, I think 5 previous times. And I find this is pretty interesting news. What it actually mentions in the article, I'm glad that this very short article actually says this on DualShockers, that there's a couple of things that this could mean. One is that, of course, the Sony just forgot to file the new extension request for the trademark, which it does mention apparently happens kind of often in the industry. I'm willing to bet that that's nowhere near what actually happened. I don't think that Sony, if this game did exist and was still being worked on, I don't think that they would ever let that thing go. I don't think that they would really forget to do so. Also, the other thing that they mentioned is that it could, of course, mean that the project is canceled. That seems to be the most likely thing. This other thing, this other idea that they mentioned that I think is pretty cool, I don't really know how likely it is, but it's an interesting angle to approach this from, is that it's entirely possible that the title is still being worked on, and it's just changed names. And that's pretty cool because it kind of lets us know that if, in fact, that were true, that there's obviously that much more that's even been going on behind the scenes. So much so that, maybe the entire nature of the game or the story or the plot or what you're doing in the game has changed. So much so to change the title. And if that would be the case, then, of course, Sony would no longer want to keep the trademark for The Last Guardian. There would be no point. So what does this all mean? Like I said, I think that it's a pretty interesting idea that maybe they've changed the names. That does sound very, very possible, very plausible. I think that that very much could be what's going on. Now, do I think that that's the most likely thing? Absolutely not. All signs have pointed to this game and this title being deader than dead for years now. And this is just like another nail in a coffin with several nails. There's just no reason to think that this title is ever coming. And you know what? I will never believe it until Sony frickin' shows it and gives us a release date and starts putting demos out for people to play at E3. This game is dead. I don't believe in this game. And if Sony really wants us to believe in it, it's not going to happen until they show it to us, and it's their fault because they've done absolutely zero shit, zip, zilch, nada to make anyone have any sort of faith in this game being real. And again, that sucks. It sucks for a couple of reasons. Most importantly for me is that I thought the game just looked fantastic. It obviously should be releasing. They've been working on it for so long, quote unquote working on it for so long. The game looks amazing. The other thing is that the PlayStation 4 goddamn needs games. It needs good games. It needs exclusive games. That's what systems need. And granted, the system is selling like crazy, so you could make the case that it obviously doesn't need games because people will buy it mindlessly anyway. And it should be noted that I own and enjoy my PS4, so I'm not really hating on the system, but there's no doubt that the system has zero when it comes to quality library. I mean, the Wii U and the Xbox One have far superior libraries, in my opinion, and I own all three. So there's just not games to play, and this would be a huge boon for them as far as bolstering their library and saying, look, now you guys know why you've all been buying the PlayStation 4 in droves, because there's kind of some games to play finally. And this is a game that people have been waiting for so long. There's been so much hype surrounding it. I mean, they would make massive amounts of cash if they just finished and released this goddamn game, so I don't know what's holding it back. Maybe there's a rights or a licensing issue somewhere happening on the, in the back end, in the fine print of the paperwork somewhere. It's got to be something like that. I mean, this game, if they wanted to complete it, they could, and they would have already. And the fact that it hasn't means some weird, crazy anomaly has happened to prevent it. Here we are with the trademark being abandoned, and there's just no doubt in my mind that this game has been canceled, And if Sony wants us to believe otherwise, they got to show us the fucking game. And until they show us the game, it's dead, deader than dead, deader than shit, deader than anyone has ever been before. The end. Anyway, I know it kind of sounds like I'm a little bit mad, and I'm really not like so much mad at this as I am saddened by the fact that it seems obvious that the game is canceled. And I am still mad at Sony specifically just because they've handled this debacle of a title so poorly. And last year when reports about it showing up at E3 or that it was going to be canceled came out, and some people, I think Sean Layden or somebody from Sony started, getting up in arms on Twitter and laughing about it and saying, oh my god, you guys are dumb for even thinking so. What would make you think that? You guys are idiots. And I'm like, you know what, motherfuckers? You've done nothing to make people think anything else but that it's been canceled. And then the fucking trademark goes away today. So anyway, like I said, I don't typically like to make angry sounding videos, but I am angry about this in the sense that Sony's been terrible with it, and I want this flipping game to come out, and it's not going to. The trademark was abandoned. I'm telling you guys, the game is dead. Anyway, I'm beating a dead horse. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think this means below. Thanks to my buddy Active Sin for actually posting this article and making me aware of it. Although I'm very sad, it was good news to kind of find out today and just kind of realize we can finally put this beast behind us. So thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to subscribe to Rule of Two Review. Follow the links below to the Facebook page and the Twitter. Like and share the video and your comments and your thoughts below. And I'll catch you guys on another video for Rule of Two Review.